Reforming Medical Education in Canada. Hi everyone. In a world where medical education is constantly evolving, change is not just inevitable, it's essential. Educational institutions must make fundamental changes in how they operate in order to survive and stay relevant. Imagine this. Despite the billions of dollars poured into improving medical education, there are still doctors entering the workforce unprepared for what awaits them. They lack essential skills, like working in teams, managing critical information, improving healthcare quality, and shockingly, even basic surgical techniques. How is this still happening? Then came COVID-19, a global crisis that didn't just shake the foundations of healthcare, but exposed deep cracks in the way we prepare future physicians. It highlighted long-standing inequities in medical education, particularly for racialized and indigenous communities, and created new challenges for already vulnerable populations. Many international students, for example, were left feeling isolated and powerless, while others experienced moral distress and burnout. According to an Australian study, practices like the high-pressure questioning technique known as pimping only made things worse. It's been described as humiliating and harmful, more about tearing students down than building them up. If we're honest, the pandemic was a turning point, a moment that screamed for change. Not just small fixes, but bold, meaningful reforms. And here's a hard truth. Most attempts to create change fail. Did you know that around 70% of organizational change initiatives fail to progress beyond the initial stages? This is often due to organizations' inability to learn or a lack of visionary and futuristic leaders with a shared purpose. As educators, researchers, and innovators, we must learn from the past to shape a better future. Our system is at the brink of a paradigm shift in educating the next generation of physicians, and by understanding historical patterns, we can lead effective and successful reforms because the farther backward we can look, the farther forward we are likely to see. This approach allows us to be proactive in leading large-scale reforms. To achieve so, I adopted Braudot's longue durée framework, which allowed me to investigate changes in medical education that happened long time ago, like the 1910 Flexner Report. Longue durée history allows us to step outside of the confines of national history to ask about the rise of long-term complexities over many decades, centuries, or even millennia. Let's take a step back. Over a century ago, Abraham Flexner introduced a revolutionary framework for medical education. His ideal curriculum involved a pre-medical degree, followed by 2 years of basic sciences and 2 years of clinical training. It was a game changer then, but here's the catch. It's still the backbone of Canada's medical education system today, over 100 years later. Flexner couldn't have imagined a world with AI-driven diagnostics, global pandemics, or the need for doctors to navigate complex healthcare systems while being culturally competent and inclusive. Yet here we are, still clinging. Historically, Canadian medical education has evolved through 5 major approaches: the apprenticeship model, the discipline-based model, the organ system-based model, the problem-based learning model at McMaster University, and the clinical presentation-based model at the University of Calgary. Since the 1990s, many initiatives have been introduced by the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada, the College of Family Physicians of Canada, the Collège des Médecins du Québec, and collaborators, driven by events like the Ontario Physicians' Strike in 1986 and the World Health Organization's Call for Change in 1978. These initiatives include the Educating Future Physicians for Ontario Project, the Canadian Medical Education Directives for Specialist Roles Framework, and the Competence by Design or Competency-Based Medical Education Initiative, as illustrated in the roadmap for curricular reforms on the screen. So let's dive into this journey with curiosity and optimism. The future of medical education is full of possibilities, and together we can shape it into a system that's more inclusive, more responsive, and ultimately better for everyone. Stay tuned. I can't wait to share more with you about how we can get there.